In a democracy, which is greater or bigger, your government or you? The answer is you. In a democracy, which is bigger or greater, you or me? The answer is both of us. This, in essence, is the concept of democracy. That it is about we, the people. That we matter in the system much more than anything else. And the governments that run for us, on our terms, for us, to benefit us, to represent us, and to do the best for us. So in a democracy, a government is nothing but just the representative of us. And the governments are not above us, they're not our rulers, they are created by us. If we do not like the kind of government that we are currently having, we have to question what is our understanding of governments at all, and what is the role that we think governments ought to play. Are the governments bigger than our countries? No. Are parties bigger than the government? No. So what exactly is a vote, and what does it really do? Should we bother to even vote? Is just voting enough to claim that we are a citizen of a country or that we have exercised our democracy? No. There is a need for us to understand what exactly is democracy. Democracy means that within a particular geography, every single person within that geography legally has the same right as any other, irrespective of their age, their gender, their caste, their religion, their region, their language, their food, their language, anything. That legally, as a citizen of that country, everybody holds an equal right. And they also hold an equal responsibility. To make sure, what is that responsibility? The responsibility is that every one of us should at every point be protected from anything that prevents all of us losing this freedom, all of us losing what we collectively own. The independence to exist and to live our life on our own terms. That means that my right to live as an independent, freedom-loving, honorable citizen of this country is the same as another person's right. And they have to protect my right to exist in this country on these terms, and it's my duty to protect another person's right to exist in the same country. Then we both are fellow citizens. And that is when we both say we are citizens of the same country. Now that is very critical. And what is the job of a government? The very word says govern, which means their job is to make and help to create a beautiful country that is fair to all, that treats everybody and ensures everybody is treated equally, that respects the fact that there are different people who live within this geography and that all of them have an equal and valid space to exist, to create better and better situations and better standards of living for everybody, to make sure that everybody has an equal opportunity to study and to grow and to evolve, not at the cost of somebody else. So when we say govern, we mean creating systems that ensure that we have better and better societies for everybody to coexist. The best country is one that makes sure that all its citizens are able to enjoy this. And it is the duty of every citizen to push its governments to do this job very well, to demand out of its government that it fulfills these promises, and to correct and ask questions, hard questions of its government when it fails to do so. At any point when any government is either protecting one bunch of people higher than the other, or is disregarding equality towards everybody, is discriminating by its very nature or through its laws or through its decisions, some people more than the other. And when it stifles this right of questioning, when it is refusing to be answerable to its people, when it is refusing to reveal data, when it refuses to be transparent about how it operates, and also when it refuses to take up any responsibilities. Now, being a citizen of a country, especially a democratic country, means that not only do we enjoy certain roles and rights, we also have some duties. Equally so, the government has a lot of duties to perform to. A government cannot put all its roles and responsibilities onto its citizens and claim to do nothing. If a government does not take ownership, responsibility, accountability, and is not transparent and is unwilling to be questioned, then it ceases to be a democratic government. It doesn't matter whether we vote, it doesn't matter whether there are one or more parties, it does not matter about any of those things. The minute it is unwilling to have a space where all of us can ask questions, when it is changing the laws in a manner that suits some people more than the other, when it does not respect the voice of everybody, especially those who are having a lesser space in the system or a smaller number of people in the system, when all voices are not respected equally, when all voices are not thoughtfully represented in platforms, when everybody is not given an equal opportunity, and on the contrary, when there is tremendous shift being made to make sure that a lot of people are excluded, that a lot of people feel uncomfortable, that a lot of people are going to be left behind, whether in terms of region, religion, language, economic status, and when a government goes all out to make sure that it is creating huge divides in society, it ceases to be a democratic country. Then the question comes, who am I in this democracy? Do I have any rights at all? And what do I mean when I say I love my country? What do I love? Do I love its land? Do I love its food? Do I love its languages? Do I love its people? What do I really love when I look at a flag or I feel patriotic? What really do I mean? I mean the fact that I come from a place that is respectful towards everything that it stands for. So, is standing up for democracy the same as standing up for your government? Is your government the same as your country? Can the country be different from? Can you be patriotic towards your country, but sometimes be against your government? And by that, I'm not necessarily meaning anything illegal. It's very important to understand that. When we say we're against the government, what we mean is against the policies of the government, against the way that it's taking its decisions, against the laws that might be passed, against the fact that it could be tending to become more discriminatory, that it could become a lot more easier for some people in relation to others, that it could become a very unequal and uneven society. And when governments are pushing towards such societies, then it becomes our right as a patriotic citizen to question our government and to stand up for the concept of democracy. And at that point, the country becomes bigger than the government, bigger than anybody, because the country is nothing but you and me. And you are the biggest custodian of this country. You own the country. I own the country. Collectively, we own the country. And I have to make sure that your rights are protected. You have to make sure that my rights are protected. And together, we should make sure that other people's rights are protected. The minute we say that as long as my rights are protected and as long as I am not having a problem, I don't really care what happens to you. And when every one of us are going to do that, it suits an unethical government to play with that kind of a division. Because they know that each of them are only going to look out for themselves, and what ultimately is the loss is that we would have lost our country. We stand now at a very critical point in our Indian history where we do not know if the country that we thought we had gained with so much of struggle and so much of sacrifice is going to be there with us anymore in the way that we know it. Because there is definitely a great energy, great effort being put in making our country into very different from what it was visioned out to be. A place for everybody. It is intentionally being pushed to be a place that favors only a certain bunch of people, only from a certain region, speaking a certain kind of language, and having a certain economic advantage, we will no longer be the India that we love, the India that we are proud of, the India that we want to really nurture and leave for our children. If what I'm saying is making sense to you, be very aware. It doesn't mean that we all have to hold placards immediately and go out and fight. No. But not to be aware, not to even understand what is happening, not to think that it has nothing to do with us is stupid. It's the height of stupidity because it does matter to every one of us. If we say, oh, I have nothing to do with politics, I'm not interested in politics. Every one of us, whether we vocalize or not, if we are alive and we exist, we are political. We are political because of our existence, because of the water we drink, the food we eat, the roads that we walk on, the houses that we stay in, the electricity bills that we pay, the water that we have or don't have, the airports that we fly to and fro, the buses that we take, the hospitals, the healthcare, the education, what our children study, even the fact whether we have an Aadhaar card or not, and whether it can get us into some place or not, whether our PAN card is linked or not, every single aspect of our life is political. And to not understand it is to be stupid. So when we say I'm not political, it means you're dead? No. Even in your death, you're political. Because unless you produce a certain documents, you're not even going to be buried or burnt. So we are political by our very existence. Now, when we say we're not political, what we probably mean is I'm not very vocal about it. I don't have a comprehension of its variety, nor am I allied to any party. We don't have to support any party or be against it. But we cannot not support thinking, being aware of how we are being played. We cannot be oblivious to the danger that is right in front of us, staring at us. We are soon reaching our lifetimes, 1947. We have to be very mindful of what is happening. We have to be very mindful of whether we are going past 1947 into growth or whether we are going before that into losing our freedom. All that we have, freedom is not something that is easily given. It's something that was fought for and gained. And it is to be something preciously guarded. And what is this freedom that we talk about? It is the freedom to be just us on our own terms, to evolve on our own terms, and to be having that space as an Indian and to give that space to another fellow Indian. As kids, we all had our pledge that we used to take. All Indians are our brothers and sisters. Today, we do not speak of that language. We do not speak like all Indians are our brothers and sisters. We have to bring that kind of a culture back again. We have to have, when we say pride, what we mean is that this pride of this beautiful multicultural being that we are. That across our geographies, there are people of all kinds, and there is something beautiful that links every one of us. Today, if we say, oh, I'm not interested in voting, oh, I'm not interested in politics, oh, I'm not interested in who comes to power, I'm not interested in which law that's getting passed, I'm not interested in anything other than that my life doesn't get disturbed. But your life will get disturbed because you're only holding the problem until it becomes personal. And if everybody does that, it suits the vested interest in being able to change everything without you knowing anything about it. If you're really truly patriotic, we should really be thinking about that soldier standing there saluting that flag in that icy cold mountain. What is he saluting? What is he standing up for? This right for every one of us to be able to say, yes, we are all fellow citizens of this amazing country. We are all equal and we all have our rights and duties. And we, if needed, will hold our government to task to become transparent, to become ethical, to actually walk the talk, to put out the right data, to treat every one of us with respect, with mutual respect and equality, and to really bring a certain amount of class and grace back to being what it is to be Indian. If we are not alert now, we may or may not have the country in the way that we have known it. We may have a different representation of what it means to be Indian. And we may not even have that representation if we're not careful. If this is the time not to go against a government, but to really question and demand the kind of governments that we want really to have, that we deserve. They say that people get the governments we deserve. We deserve a lot better. And it's high time that we ask for it. And finally, in a democracy, the most critical thing is the Constitution. It is the one holy book that we all have to adhere to, respect, salute, because it gives us the right to be equal by law. The Constitution is the most sacred thing that we could all hold dear, and all governments come under the Constitution. No government, no party, no individual is greater than the Constitution. And the Constitution is framed in such a way that it is for us, the people. It's framed for us, for you and me.